Alright, hey guys, this is video diary number 3, and this covers chapters 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's about 15 questions, so let's just go ahead and jump right into them. Critical theory is when critical theory is when higher management's interests are evaluated and above the interests of the workers. We can use critical theory by learning the concepts of power, hegemony, hegemony, and conservative control. We understand power by having someone do something that they would normally do, and the reason why they're doing it is because you have a higher position than them, or like you're their manager or their supervisor. I use those two as examples. Hegemony is supporting the dominant group. And what I took from the reading was that the group uses terms to make the workers feel as a union, but and that could be the positive aspect of it. But it also may be negative if you're overworking your workers, or if your workers, like what the book said, they were using the example of family when they would talk about meetings, and when they were in the newspapers, they would say stuff about family, but the workers were being worked hard and were actually working longer hours, which was keeping them away from their personal family, their actual family. So that's what I kind of took from that. Conservative control is when you adopt the values and norms of the company or the organization you work for. And I can use my example. My first job was actually Chick-fil-A, and at Chick-fil-A, majority of the time when you speak to a Chick-fil-A worker, they always say at the end of the conversation, "My pleasure." I really adopted that terminology. Even to this day, I still say, like, "My pleasure." And Watson is a great influencer. I believe she is standing on the right side of her rights. I believe she is standing on the right side for equal rights as well. She states that she would like more males and more boys to be activists, and in this campaign, and I totally agree. How do we want change when we're the only ones fighting for it as women? How do we make a bold statement that other people outside of our gender wants the same equality as what we do? So I really enjoyed her point on wanting more boys and males to help with this campaign. Also, as a woman, we should have we should be equal to the next gender. We shouldn't be looked upon less than because of the body parts that we were giving. I definitely agree with the whole video. And what I really liked about her videos is she didn't only come with her opinion, but she came with facts. She came with supporting evidence, and I thought that was really essential to her making her point, or why it's so important. And I believe it's equally important for her to use her platform to speak the rights that we should already have. Like she said in her video, she is not a typical woman in the UK. She has more of a privileged life because of what she does, because of her career choice. But what about those individuals that don't have the option to be an actress, or to be someone in the media? Do those opinions and do those women go unnoticed? No, we should all be equal. So I definitely love that she touched on that as well. That was a really great point. So moving into question 6. Give me 1 second. I have been in a situation where I did not represent myself in the best way, especially in interviews. I remember a few years ago, when I was trying to break into the admin roles, I was actually interviewed for a position at Pearland County. It was for somewhere on the lines of admin work, and it was a panel interview, so it was about 6 different people, and that was my first time ever having an interview with so many people. And after I left from out of the interview, I was like, oh, I don't think I did really good. There were certain topics I didn't touch on. Like, I didn't really tell them how well my customer service was, how well my oral skills was, how I was a people person, how I was a fast learner, as well as I worked great in groups. I worked well alone. I didn't really touch on those points. I didn't even touch on how I knew how to work Word and how I was really great at PowerPoint and Excel. And part of that was because I was unprepared. I didn't go over any interview questions. I don't even think I really read the job description. I was just looking for something. And that's the worst thing to do, is to go into an interview unprepared, because when you go in unprepared, you don't touch on every base that you should, because you're just reading off the top of your mind, especially when it's not repetitive. So I definitely have been a part of that unprepared group, as well as didn't represent myself to the best of my ability. And no, I did not get that job. Moving on to question number 7. Yes, I have been misrepresented by a company. And I actually worked for a high-end retail store a few years back, and I worked there for a few years. And as I gradually progressed, I began to have these different roles. Well, my managers would tell me I have this role, but it was never official. And with the role came a different pay. My pay never changed. And with the role came a set schedule. My schedule never changed. So being the worker that I am, I continue to do my job to the best of my ability. And over time, I started asking my supervisors, like, hey, what's going on with getting my role changed, my salary, my hours? Because I'm still doing the work, but it doesn't add up. So she told me, like, okay, give me some time. And I was like, okay, like, I understand sometimes things takes more time. So I gave her more time, and I asked her again, and she kind of pushed me to the side. So I was like, you know what? It's time for me to look for something else. This job is not even what I want to do in my career field. I don't enjoy retail at all. It's just what's getting me by. Reasons why applicants may embellish their application. I believe it is so hard to break into an industry with little experience or no experience at all. Some of these companies require 3 years of experience, 4 years of experience. 4 years of experience, but those individuals that have the experience started somewhere with no experience. So I believe that's a big reason why people do embellish, is because it's harder to break into the industry, especially when you know that you can learn, especially when you know what type of learner you are. Some people are more hands-on, like myself. I can do well with instructions, but I can do even better if you just show me how to do it. You show me how to do it once, and 9 times out of 10 I'm going to grasp it, and I'm going to do it the best that I can do it. So for question number 9, I don't Google myself often. I rarely Google myself at all. But if I were to be Googled, for one, I have a very common name. But if you were to find me, my perception is the same. Extremely family oriented. I hang out with my friends, spend time with my daughter. I talk about school. I'm extremely motivational. I talk about fitness a lot. What else do? I don't post anything explicit, because I do follow my family. Like my mom has a Facebook. I follow her on Facebook and stuff like that. So I don't post anything that could have any type of negative backlash on me. I do still like to have fun, but you're not going to see me with liquor everywhere or drinks everywhere. So I think my perception of my social media or my just Google in general is actually how I am in person. I talk about school a lot. I more so complain about school a lot, but that's me. Moving on, we're going to go into question 11. A question that I wanted to know was, for one, did she ever tell someone about the customer inappropriate behavior? I definitely understand how she feels when you can't tell management about a situation based on the previous history, but Cassie should be able to speak to Tim despite their previous history. I feel like if you're in management, you should not be more you should be more forgiving and more towards looking towards the future versus, you know, reminiscing on the past. Now, if that employee keeps doing the same behavior, then that's a different story. But if you see the effort, then why keep looking back? I feel like it's part of being a leader. It's always looking forward, always going forward towards the next goal, to the next situation. So I feel like she needs to bring it to higher management and inform them of the passengers inappropriation towards the workers. And I'm not going to say towards the female workers, because males also experience inappropriation. So I feel like she definitely needs to bring it to somebody's attention, because if it's happening to her, it may be happening to somebody else that isn't as vocal as her. So that's something I really took from that. Number two, may engage in this type of behavior just to be more creative, just to allow that subordinate to be more creative with their work, and to see, can they take little information and turn it into something big. And I notice a lot of our professors do that. They allow us complete creative control to see how we can grasp a certain assignment, just like this assignment actually. The video is definitely different, but I feel like they can use this type of behavior to just regulate the amount of information they want to share. I feel like sometimes conversations can get off track and become very personal. So this is a good way to make sure that it's only work related. So that's what I've had this issue with my parents about my grades. But I told them about the situation up front. It was a situation where my parents really wanted me to finish. They really want me to finish school. So part of my, I guess a part of our agreement was, if I was in school full time, they would pay my car note, all my bills, phone bill, any type of expenses, credit cards, and all that good stuff, as long as I was passing my classes and moving forward to my degree. Well, it was a situation where I was not passing my classes, and I actually was failing. And instead of me lying to them about it, I just went ahead and told them the truth, because they were going to find out. Because they require, like, after each semester, they require me to show them my grades, like, hey, like, I got this, I got that, or whatever. So I just went ahead and was honest with them, because I didn't want to hide it. And I ended up bringing my grade all the way up to a B. And even though I got a B, they still like lowered the amount they were giving me monthly, and my credit cards and everything, as a way of showing me that even though you told the truth, and even though you fixed the issue, you should know better not to allow yourself to be that far behind. Which was a great learning experience, might I add. And look at me now, I'm about to graduate from college. So it wasn't all bad. Trust plays a huge role in supervisor-subordinate relationships. I think building trust between the two shows that they value each other's opinion. And Glenn's example of how him and his previous employer relationship based on trust was very strong. I think it's important to build new relationships as well. It makes the job easier when you build trust. Like for me, I can't work under someone I don't trust. I feel like that's just really hard for me to do. I mean, I have to make sure, if you're giving me the information, I have to make sure that the information you're giving me is good quality information. So when I present to you the assignment, or I present to you the work, you're not looking at me, your manager isn't looking at me like, what is this? Like, she didn't get it. And it's like, no, I got it. I got what he gave me. So I think that's a really important aspect of working for somebody, that you guys build that relationship. Even if you can't build a personal relationship out of the situation, a work relationship is great. A work relationship is just fine. But I need to be able to trust that we're on the same page and we have the same similar goal. Question 15. Immediacy is when you build a relationship or concern with a coworker. This could be nonverbal or verbal. And I feel like it's extremely important to build these relationships, because it shows that you value your coworker, and you value your coworker's work as well as their space, and you actually care about what they're going through, and you want to establish a positive work environment. I think a positive work environment is just when that environment is good, everything else just works out perfectly, because you're not taking any baggage home. You're not getting up in the morning not wanting to go to work. I've been there. I think we all have. And when you find that great chemistry, I think it's so important you try to keep that going, and you try to stay as positive as possible, and you try to uplift one another.